Hey ladies and gentlemen, Javier here with The Real Javier Novoa, a channel where we go into philosophy, spirituality, and mysticism in applying it to rapid lifestyle transformation in particular, and a whole multitude of other topics here. And yes, I already got a question on the video that I just released about the perfect being the enemy of the good in Facebook Messenger, and the person was saying, well, why do you guys say in the law of assumption that you don't have to take any action, you don't lift a finger and it's coming towards you. Well, then why are you saying that you have to go and you have to rush in and you have to get beachheads and all that? Why can't you just relax and have it coming to you? And of course, we're going to continue addressing this topic because I think this is one of the most difficult topics for us to understand in modern Western society. It wasn't difficult for people in the past to understand, and it wasn't difficult for people trained in Eastern mysticism especially to understand, but for us Westerners it's very hard to understand. So let me try to go into it this time and attack it from another angle. I believe that my job as a coach in mental rehearsal is to resolve some of these paradoxes good enough for the Western mind so that we can take these principles and actually begin internalizing these principles. So the main point here, I will continue to revert to my scale of being that I created, which is a chart of scale of being with divinity at the top and physicality at the bottom. And the amazing thing was that the Gnostics and many other early scholars knew this and taught it well. The Gnostics portray it as Sophia, or wisdom, which was known as the creator of the universe, but then she split. And when she split, there was a part of Sophia which remained as the non-dual monistic absolute reality, and there was a part of her that was then separated and known as the creator of all of the reality. But the basic idea is, and this is being proven more and more in quantum physics and through science, but it can also be intuitively and interiorly known by you immediately simply by drawing within, is that there only exists one. There's no duality. The only duality that exists is when we came into this game and split ourselves, so to speak. We are Sophia, but then we came down into this reality so that we could have an experience of duality to get back to the unity. And it's actually a very beautiful thing. The Gnostics talked about how Sophia went into this sleep. And sleep is also a very prominent motif in these manifestational philosophies and in these theologies of the perennial philosophy, where we go into this sleep, and by going into this sleep we're able to get back in touch with our subconscious. She went into this sleep and she dreamed of a separation, and that dream is what is now ongoing. It's all very interesting. By the way, I was watching some videos earlier from this amazing lady. It's a channel about non-dualism, and I think I'll link this channel in the description. I think it's one of the best YouTube channels that I've watched, and we're trying to get to this level of applying this material to rapid lifestyle transformation, to practical applications. But this lady's just amazing what she's going into on non-duality, so we will link that in the description. But that's the first topic that you have to wrap your head around, and you do this by contemplation. There's only one. There's no dualism. There's no duality in reality. So therefore, any topic can be approached from the point of view of that there's no separation between topics. There's no true contradiction, ladies and gentlemen, because opposing viewpoints are on a plane. And this plane is undergirding and underlying both of the viewpoints. Therefore, depending upon the time and the set of circumstances, any viewpoint can be seen as true. That's why all of the great masters say, you're right and I am also right. There's no absolute truth nor absolute falsehood. As the great Krishnamurti said, you must see the true in the false and the true. Having set that as the original groundwork, why would we say that we need to rush in to actually take action on our desires when we've talked about in all of our videos that you simply imagine yourself into that state, you click into that state, and it's yours? Well, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, not taking action is an action. That's right. Not taking action is an action if you do it deliberately. And that's simply empirically true. because all action is an offshoot of thought. And I would refer to those skeptics, I would refer you to the great Ludwig von Mises in his book Human Action, where he explains praxeology in relation to economics, but he goes into this topic of how the reason that economic science and all social sciences must be deduced logically as opposed to empirically like the physical sciences is because all human action is an offshoot of thought, and thought follows the laws of logic. Therefore, thought is action. So any creation from that sense can be described as action. So what we recommend to do, that if you're stuck and if you're trying to get into that state of your wish fulfilled, then most of the time there are certain actions you can take on your film roll. Therefore, take those actions. Because it's more effort not to take those actions and to try to simply create it all in the mental than to take the actions that you need to take. And in fact, not taking the action that you need to take at a given time and that it's easy for you to take and that you can take itself generates resistance. The great Jeff Bezos talked about this, is that he said when you come up against a very challenging situation, the most of the stress that's generated by that situation is by not addressing and doing what you know and think needs to be done. Because if you simply engrossed yourself in the action of doing what needs to be done and taking the steps that need to be taken, then the stress would be eliminated because you would simply be focused in that. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, all of the great billionaires and successful people know these principles. Whether it's intuitively or self-consciously, they know and practice these principles. So how can we explain this more? We never say in this channel to not take action. In fact, we encourage taking massive action, beautiful action, joyful action. What we do caution against is taking effort. And what we say is to take the path of least effort. And everyone has to calculate the mix of actions and thoughts and simply letting go that it would take to take the least effort. Because the more effort you take, the more you're actually pushing your outcome away from you in time and in space. And of course, figuring all this out is the fun and the job of manifestation and creation. And of course, in our coaching calls, I go into guiding you hand by hand how to figure this out, how to get that mix right so that you're not taking any effort. And by not taking any effort, we're never saying not to take action. Because imaginal action is action, even getting into state is action, and taking physical actions is action. In fact, you came into this 3D experience. Sophia separated herself and came into this experience so that she could have the joy of action and the joy of interacting with these different physical bodies and so on and so forth. This is a very fascinating topic. So it all has to be understood and held in your mind. And there are no contradictions. In fact, it's the act of working out these contradictions that is the great fun and the great deliciousness of contemplation. So I would invite you, any blocks you have or any problems that you have understanding this material, contemplate it, and I promise you the answers will come to you with no effort, and it will be a beautiful experience. You will feel a high, ladies and gentlemen, when you contemplate these deep topics. That's why we came to this earth. So how can I give an example? A few weeks ago, some friends had invited me out and they wanted to go do some things, but I had a great resistance to doing that. I didn't want to do that. And it's because I had a lot of things on my list that I hadn't been able to address the week before. And so actually the resistance of not allowing myself to go where I had set myself in my mind and where I had imagined myself was actually generating resistance. So a thing on the outer which would seem like less effort, which is going out with friends, what seems like less effort? Sitting down at your desk and taking care of calls and invoices, or going out with your friends? What would seem on the outer that the least effort would be to enjoy and to go out with your friends. But actually the least effort was to sit down and start going where I had set myself up in my mind. That's what I came here for. So I rejected the invitation from my friends. I sat down, and it was a very therapeutic experience. It was a release of resistance and a release of stress just to sit down and do my work. So ladies and gentlemen, sit down and do your work. But in order for it not to be effort, first of all, it has to be your work. That means it has to stem from your desire, and the path to that has to be desirable to you. That means you have to actually sit down and figure out whether this desire is actually yours or whether it's been superimposed by the outside. And this is what I talked about on a coaching call earlier, that we were talking about whether certain desires are yours or whether they're imposed from the outside. And the great Vadim Zeland talks about this in Reality Transurfing. If when you think about a desire, there's resistance there, and you have resistance to taking the steps that you need to take, whether imaginal or outer, to get to that desire, that means that at least there are parts of that desire that are not yours. You're perhaps trying to attain that desire because you think it will make you money, or you think that it will make you successful on the outer so that you can attain other desires, or you're trying to please someone or show off. If that's the case, there is a way to make that desire yours, and we can coach you that also on this modality. But the easiest thing to do, ladies and gentlemen, is just go straight to your desire. So for example, if you desire $1 million, but there's a block or resistance to that, and you're not willing to sit down and to at least take the first step, either imaginally or physically, to getting there, and your intuition is not giving you guidance, that means that you're not really desiring that $1 million, but rather you desire the end that you think that $1 million will give you, right? So instead of thinking about the $1 million, think about what you want that $1 million for and what you will do once you have it. Then the resistance is all lifted, and you can go there immediately, because there is an infinite number of film rolls. They're all within you, and you can get on any film roll anytime you want. So that's where we go to again in the motifs that we've been talking about this week of give it to yourself first and give it to yourself now. And we're going to go into another video about how we teach instant gratification. That's right. We don't teach putting off your desires and being patient. No, we teach that you need to give yourself instant gratification now. And we will explain that more in another video. But basically, give yourself what you want now. Any action that you're taking, it should be taken for the energetic quality of it. That means it should be taken as an end in itself. It should never be simply to get to something else. Of course, you're going to have that in the back of your mind. You're going to be aiming towards a goal or towards an intention. But keep that in the back of your mind. What you want to do is you want to enjoy that action, and you want to enjoy the path. If you're on a path to what you want, but you don't enjoy it, that means it's not the path for you. And that means you need to get back to the journaling and get back to the contemplation to further work out what the next step in that modality is for you. And of course, we're going to be making many more videos on this. So I just wanted to clarify that, ladies and gentlemen. There's no duality. Do take massive action towards your desires, but do not take effort. For we were not sent here to toil, and we were not sent here to take effort. We were sent here to enjoy the deliciousness of action and of being alive in these physical bodies and of moving towards what we want and of having aspects of that come to us in ways that we don't expect to surprise and delight us, and then to realize who we really are, to get back to Sophia, to get back to the one. So ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching our video. If you find value in our channel, please subscribe and like to our videos so that we can get this information out to as many people as possible. My number one intention is to touch as many lives as I can and to disseminate this material to play my small part in this great awakening that's happening globally towards consciousness and to create a better world. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing coaching calls, so please email me to jump on one of those, and you're going to have massive results from these calls, as well as join our Facebook group where you can dialogue with other master manifestors. Until very soon, this is Javier with great love and appreciation. We'll see you soon.